Do you all want to hear the craziest thing I have done in my life? Well, I was offered a scholarship to spend 1 week out at sea with a ship full of strangers. Crazy, right? Well, the crazier thing was that I accepted the offer and I went on the ship called the STS Lorne II. When I arrived at the port, I saw the ship floating gently in the water, swaying gently in the wind. I thought to myself, this doesn't look too big or scary at all. This is going to be the best week ever. As I got closer and closer to it, my legs started shaking. My palms were sweaty and I had butterflies flutting around in my belly. But I still had the joyous feeling of excitement within me. I was so excited and ready to start this journey. I knew it would be an adventurous journey. When I boarded the ship all by myself and looked up into the rigging where the sails are, I realised that the ship was huge. It was so big when I was standing on port. Now looking up into the sails and out to the front of bow of the ship, I felt like a small, tiny ant on deck. Soon after, we were leaving the port and heading for the big blue ocean. From the very minute I boarded the ship, the journey of learning began. I had to learn that the front was called the bow, the back was called the stern, the left was port, and the right was starboard. Then I had to learn the names of all 8 of the sails. There was so many to remember. Not only did we have to remember what they were called, we had to remember how to move them, what ropes moved them, and why we were moving them. And that was just in the 5 minutes of me stepping on board. We made any mistakes with any of those sails, we'll just go crashing into another ship, some land that we might not have spotted, or down into the ocean because we've hit some rocks. Then I had to learn to set the sails, climbing the mast safely with my harness, work the sails at the top without losing balance or falling off. I learned helming or steering of the ship, navigating, and the different maintenance routines that were constantly needed. On the 3rd morning, we woke to storm clouds in the horizon. Remember, all of us have only learned about the sails and the ship for 3 days, and those days had really calm seas and pleasant sunny summery conditions. Now, the captain was saying that in only 1 hour we will be in the middle of one of the worst storms she has ever experienced. This was scary because we all knew that she had been sailing for over 20 years. I looked around into the ocean. No land could be seen. The last sight of land was 2 days ago, 2 days away from land. The seas were getting rougher by every minute. The temperature was falling. The sun was hidden behind thicker and thicker, darker and darker clouds. It was only about 10 a.m, but it looked like the night was about to form. It was a storm. People around me were starting to throw up over the sides of the ship, and some even on deck right in front of me. There was so much to do. The sails had to be released from the poles so they could be set. Things on deck had to be secured. There was so much to do, but most of the sailors were too sick to move. The captain was yelling for someone, "Tend the sails, tend the sails." I could feel the sick rising from my belly, but I didn't know whether it was fear or seasickness. I just knew that I had no time to be sick, as if I started, it may never stop. The waves were now crashing over the deck. The waves that were as high as the roofs of houses were falling onto the deck and hitting towards my face. I hooked my harness and started climbing the ladder that was swaying in the wind. I had no time to think of fear. I'm sure I was though, but I just focused on climbing up the 25 metres, which is about 7 stories high, untie the rolled up sail and retie it in another position so we can get through the storm and not be caught up in it. imagine. Howling strong stormy winds, 7 stories up a swaying ladder. Leaving that ladder to walk along a tightrope, trying to reach out and pull the ropes without losing my balance on that tightrope. Well, I did. I was freaking out, but did not want to let the fear get the better of me. So, I hung on, freaked out, and quickly pulled those ropes and set those sails whilst the ship was trying to throw me off into the ocean. While I was tending to the sails, the wind caught 2 wires and snapped onto my arm. Whack! Ouch! I screamed out in pain. Quickly pulled my arm out from between the wires and got on with the job. I set the sails and got down without another incident. It was not till later in the afternoon, when we were clear of the storm, that I realised the injury. My whole arm was bruised, throbbing, and as fat as a tree trunk. However, I was lucky because it was not broken. It was just badly bruised. Do you know what I learned? Something that I would never forget and that would help me in all my life. When you are faced with something difficult, something challenging, something scary, and something you might not usually want to do, you can choose to sit down and give up and not do it all. Just give up. Or you can just do it. You can face whatever life and opportunities presents and give it a go. You will be surprised at how much strength you have, how you can endure, and how much you can achieve. All you need to do is just to do it.